Okay, we're going to do a watercolor with a really easy sky and clouds. What you need is some watercolor paper, 2 things of water, one that's clean and one to rinse your brushes in. Make sure you keep a clean one. Pretty big brush. And then just sort of a straight or angled brush. Nothing fancy. Got your watercolors. And tissue, Kleenex. First thing you want to do is get your big brush with your clean water and wet down your paper. Wet it down to about 3/4 of the way. So don't wet the entire thing, but wet most of it. Now we're going to add in some blue. Now of course the sky has a lot of different colors, but we're just going to start off with some blue. Now I usually like to use a couple of different blues because it just makes it more interesting. And with this sky, you don't have to worry about having it exactly straight. It's okay if it's got spots and drips and different kinds of darks and lights. That's all fine because we're going to be putting clouds in here. And also we can put in some other colors. There's all kinds of colors in clouds, so we'll put in some pinks and then some yellows. And we're just dotting these on. Nothing here is like super difficult. Okay, now get your Kleenex and crumple it up. And you want to use the crumpled side. And you're just going to gently press on the paper. Look at that. Now, don't press really hard all over. In some places, you'll want to press hard, and in other places, you'll want to press a little bit softer. Just dab at it. That's going to give you some different darks and lights in your clouds, and that's good. Now, to add in some definition on your clouds, just get your brush and go back and just dot in a little bit of blue paint. Just here and there around the clouds. Now you can only do this if the paper is still wet. Don't try and do this with dry paper. It won't work. What this will do is give you a few hard edges on the clouds. Now, of course, clouds are soft and fluffy, but if you've got these little hard edges, then it gives you that definition. But of course, you don't want to surround the entire thing with this added in color. And if you put in too much, you just dab it up. You don't even have to do this step. You can if you decide to, but it certainly is not necessary. Now let's do the ground. Now, of course, this is all about the sky, but having the ground just helps. Use some greens, but also some browns. Now, watch what I'm doing here. It's just strokes, just straight lines, basically. Use several different earth tones, greens and browns. Don't cover the whole thing. Leave some white. That keeps it interesting. You can add really any colors in here. But if you look, you can see just it's basically straight lines. And the color moves itself. If you look up by the sky, you can see that because the sky is still wet, it's pulling some of that ground paint up, and that's going to look like bushes and grass. Now we're going to add in some more bushes shapes. And with this, again, don't just use the green straight out of the tube or bottle or the pan, whatever kind of watercolors you're using. You can use any kind to do this. Mix it. Mix it up with something, because otherwise it's going to be kind of a bright chemical green, and there's not a whole lot of that in nature, generally speaking. And look, you just dab it on. There's nothing precise or exact here. Really, just relax. Just have fun dabbing your paint. Decide where you want things to go. Don't overpaint it, which means stop before you get too much paint on there. Because if you do, then it's overworked. But that's okay. And look, here you go. This is your own original painting. Put it in a frame, hang it on your wall. You can do this. Obviously you can. Alright, now you go give it a try.